Celia stormed out of the house with Chase in hand and hopped into Susie's. "Let's go," she said. Even after they were on the road, she was still very angry. She hugged her shoulders and whispered to Chase, "I don't know what's gotten into my parents. They weren't always like this. I don't know why they don't like you." She paused and then added, "But if that's how they want it to be, we just won't see them anymore." Watching her work through her feelings, Chase felt sad. It was his fault that she and her family were at odds. He knew she was just putting on a brave face. She loved her family. Finally, he turned to her and said quietly, "Leah, please don't be angry with them. It's not worth losing your relationship. And it doesn't even matter if I don't attend the party. I could just enjoy the day with Dottie. The most important thing right now is that you give this gift to your grandmother for me. It's her day." He opened the gift box, revealing the antique pipe inside. It was weathered but intricately beautiful. It had once belonged to Theodore Roosevelt, yet he'd spent nearly $1 million to purchase it at auction. As they continued quietly to themselves, Susie, who was driving, adjusted her makeup in the rear-view mirror. She caught a glimpse of the pipe and gleefully reached over into the passenger seat to pull out a few gift boxes from her bag. It was time for her to show off. She gently passed them back to Celia and Chase. "Look at the presents I got for Grandma," she chirped. "Matt brought this back specially for her from his last trip to China. It's a tea made from the first buds and leaves of a white peony tree. He also brought back another tea that's made from one of the 6 mother trees left in the world. It'll cost him thousands of dollars." She was brimming with pride. She eagerly continued to tell them what was in the boxes. "Oh, and that one's from me. They're earrings just like Marilyn Monroe wore in Some Like It Hot. Can you believe it? It cost a pretty penny, but I know Grandma will like it. We have a few other things too, but you just have to wait until the party to see them." She smiled. After a brief pause, she said, "Chase, these are the types of gifts that Grandma deserves. I'd suggest that you take back the gift you brought her. That dusty old pipe is just embarrassing." He didn't take her words to heart, nor did he bother to explain his gift. Rather, he just replied, "Expensive gifts are nice, but I found that it's the intention of giving that people like more." She scoffed and reached into the back seat to take her gifts. Then she placed them back in her bag in the front seat. She laughed and said, "That's something that only poor people would say. What are you, 28? What are you doing with your life anyway? You're at a dead-end job. I have no idea what Celia sees in you, but it is what it is." Celia grew more uncomfortable listening to her cousin's japes. "What does it matter who I married?" she asked. Susie rolled her eyes but did not say another word. She just smiled back and took out her credit card from her bag and handed it to Chase. "Here, there's a $100,000 limit on it. Don't say that I didn't take care of family." She got a rush from showing it off. But Chase didn't appear impressed. He handed her the card and said, "No need. I'll just give her the pipe." "Good luck then," she huffed, focusing her attention back on the road. She couldn't believe that a loser was acting superior to her. Well, it was his funeral. Her family was sure to laugh him out of the room with his cheap gift. The 3 of them spent the rest of the drive in silence. As for Patricia and Jean, although they had just a fight with Celia and were in no mood for a party, there was no way that they could back out now. They begrudgingly joined Cicely and Quentin and drove to the party. The Jackson family home was fully decked out for the birthday celebrations. It was truly a grand day. The entire property was decorated with flowers and tea lights, and joyful music filled every nook and cranny of the home. The Jackson family was eager to show off their wealth and power, and no expense had been spared. Earlier in the year, Patricia's father had retired. He had been one of the highest-ranking officials in the city, with extraordinary power and reach within his community. He took immense pride in the success of his children and grandchildren. The only one of his children that caused him any concern was Patricia. In fact, just thinking about her and her daughter filled him with rage. He dealt with Patricia's marriage to that useless husband of hers, but now her foolish daughter had gone and gotten herself pregnant. There'd been no choice then but to marry an absolute nobody. When the news of Celia and Chase's pregnancy had reached his ears, he'd been so angry that he didn't come out of his office for 2 days. He just wondered how his granddaughter could have been so foolish as to have a child out of wedlock. He had a feeling that Chase was out to destroy his family, and it was working too. What had Celia's life become if not miserable? He had been heartbroken too. He had encouraged the two of them to divorce each other several times, but his stubborn granddaughter had refused each time. Chase's hold on her was too great. Over time, Gregory distanced himself from the Sampson family. For nearly 2 years now, he'd refused to call Patricia, except on Christmas and her birthday. At the party, Harry was discussing the finer points of his fantasy football league when the topic of conversation shifted to Chase and the other Sampson family members who were yet to arrive. "Why are they even bringing him?" he asked with a frown. Harry was Gregory and Monica's favorite grandchild, and the others were quick to agree with him in the hopes of currying favor. "Maybe we can rough him up a little later? We shouldn't just make it easy for him to crash a Jackson family party." "Of course," he replied. "That's a great idea. We have to keep the Jackson name strong," he laughed. Hunter, Patricia's youngest brother and John's son, couldn't help but chime in. "So, what's the plan?" he said. "Tell me you've thought of something." Harry grinned and smiled sinisterly. "Well, if he's then let's treat him that way. How would a enter a party?" The rest of the grandchildren stood around puzzled, waiting for him to reveal his brilliant plan. Finally, Hunter said, "The door?" Harry raised his eyebrows and said, "Exactly. What do you say, boys?" The group of them burst out into laughter. He was proud of himself for his dastardly plan and watched the driveway with eager anticipation.
Wait, that's not the end. You've just had a free taste. Now get the full story on the Pocket FM app, link in description. Check out our next video and playlist, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.